Good evening, I call the meeting to order. Pursuant to the Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law of 1975, this meeting is duly advertised in the South Jersey Times and the Sentinel. The municipal clerk of the township has been duly notified of the requirements of posting the notices have been met. Would please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance.
Oh, yeah. The flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First poll, please.
Franklin here. Cunningham here. Boe here. Progresso here. Brown here. Wilson here. Smith here. Starr. Gray.
Here.
Beautiful.
We're going to move into executive session and return 7 p.m. For the purposes of negotiation. What would that like that motion to move to executive session?
Second.
All in favor? Motion to come out of executive session, have a second?
Second.
All in favor? First item on our agenda this evening is our strategic plan update on our social and professional planning by Mrs. Leary and Mrs. Siskian. You guys want to go ahead?
Get right to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we get all the other,
That's okay.
stuff earlier before we go to our executive session.
We'll just get it. Okay, hi, I'm Lindsay Leary, and we're just going to give an update on social and emotional learning committee from mid-December until now.
Oh, no, it's just really slick. Okay.
So here's our committee. It is a mix of teachers from all different buildings, some counselors, child study team, and parents and administrators. Actually, our team is before.
These are some updated pictures from each school.
So this first slide is showing the baseline data. So in climate meetings, we look at common themes and behaviors. And then in the green, you can see from 2022-2023 school year till now, the discipline behaviors are trending down for the most part. In March of this year, it did go up a little bit from 23-24. But other than that, they're trending in the right direction. So the breakdown of discipline incidents by school, at Ritter there has been a total of 78, and this is again from December through March. And then most frequent ones at CLR were bus incidents. On the main road there was a total of 38, and most of them were just disrespect. And Danbury, there was 63 total, and the majority of them were also bus incidents.
So our two main items in our update today are our mentoring program. So we surveyed the district staff for interest in being a mentor, and then created a list of mentees in each building that were paired up with the mentor volunteers in those buildings. And then we began meeting with them at the end of March and the beginning of April. And then our second item is our Character Strong program. So we sent out a survey for feedback from professor teachers for how they used it from November to February. And then we broke our larger committee into subcommittees, and we're currently analyzing all that data and breaking it apart from each building. And then at first glance, when you review all the data, it shows that teachers are enjoying the program, they find it beneficial, it's age appropriate, and it's been a positive addition to their classrooms, but there's overall concern with time. So we're continuing to plan activities and events and surveys. In December, we gifted staff members with water bottles with hydration packs. On Wednesdays, we continue working with breast cancer awareness. There was some unified CF activities among all three schools. There were persistence activities, different scavenger hunts, and underground spirit week. And then our climate teams are continuing to meet on a monthly or bi-monthly basis to create positive school culture for our staff and our students. And then we also have monthly events and we coordinate in those meetings, and then we report out in those meetings to the SLA. So last time we gave you an update, we talked about Franklin BoE Associates. There's been a further update since then. So due to the increase in the intensity of some behavior experiments, the district, with the support of Mr. Beckman and Ms. Birmingham, brought Franklin BoE Associates back right prior to the break. And they're currently servicing 12 students. There's the BCBA and RBT in the district. The BCBA is here 1 day per week, and the RBT is here 5 days a week, and they work with some students to create individualized learning plans. So they're working with that on an actual basis.
The individual school supports at Main Road, we have our year 4 of the CCC grant coming up. Currently, the update from, again, December to April, there are 50 students on the caseload for small group counseling once a week. The CCC are continuing to go into classrooms monthly to give different lessons. So January, they talked about giving your best effort. They did self-love, thinking before you speak. This month, they're doing integrity, and May, their lessons will be geared towards state testing. And then in December, they did a bunch of different reindeer games, building community and teamwork. They hosted holiday grief counseling workshop also. They created special ordinance for students who have lost a loved one. They've done different things in February about self-love. March, we celebrated SEL Day on the 3rd with a SEL challenge for students, and they continue to display different self-care things in the cafeteria for the students to see daily.
So as we talked about last time, we have here, we awarded the CCC grant for the next 3 years. So since we talked last time, Sarah DeLobe is continuing to work with students at JMU. Since September, she's continued to teach monthly classroom lessons. So she's going into different classrooms and reinforcing the character traits of the month, and then also doing her own lessons on managing anxiety, loving yourself, like for Valentine's Day, working on personal space, whatever it is that grade level needs to organize this classroom. She's also very involved in helping teachers with their question management and assisting with student behaviors in the classroom. She has a caseload of over 45 students, and she sees them for small group and individual sessions. She works on friendship, building confidence, self-control, and family relationships. And in May, her sessions are going to start wrapping up, and then she'll be focusing on just those classroom lessons and helping the second graders as they get ready to go on to the Also at Junior, an update on our PBSIS grant. So the committee that has continued to meet monthly. They agreed upon a mascot for the school, which is this little rabbit jet. And they also came up with a school motto, which is confident, best, and success. And then there's 3 main school-wide expectations, which are be responsible, be kind, and be respectful. They're continuing to work on a template for tickets and creating lesson plans for school-wide expectations and templates for posters. Ms. Milano, Ms. Rowan, and Ms. Icona attended a leadership forum in March where they learned more information about the program, and they learned about how to implement. And then just an update on different things that are happening at the year from December to now. We continue to have our characteristics for safety PBSIS committee meetings. We have our monthly characteristics for spirit calendars, which we discussed. Weekly and monthly recognition programs like Student of the Month, Bus Character, Character Sticker, Lunch and All Stars, and then monthly and trimester attendance awards.
still doing birthday recognition for staff over announcements. We do have our monthly school climate meetings that are held, and we plan different morale-boosting activities for staff and students. We did add some new clubs this year: Leadership Club, American Sign Language Club, Builders Club, and Yearbook Club. Happy Meal continues to go home. Staff sends the students, the families, just to talk about different positive things we're seeing the students doing. We have monthly meetups for staff that have continued throughout the year. We have our Mustangs of the Month that are chosen students who stand out for practicing whatever monthly character trait that is, as well as our Artists of the Month. We are continuing with our Spirit Days and Weeks each month. We've had different rallies, Super Bowl Kahoot. We do a lot of staff morale boosting activities. There are monthly communication cards for the staff that are delivered throughout the building, and then Inverso Emporium, which also matches the monthly core value, is still a big hit with the kids every day in the cafeteria. And then we also introduced the Lego Innovative Award this year. At Ritter, they are continuing to meet as the school climate and safety meetings, the Student of the Month and recognitions, and there are Student of the Month recognitions and celebrations. They have birthday recognition cards and treats for students and staff. There's positive praise referrals. They have their first Friday, which are electives such as balloon twisting, kickboxing, cooking, poetry, jewelry making, origami, sand art, and more. Ram Ready Rewards, which is an ice cream party. They are Spirit Days and Weeks as well. At Ritter, they are working on their tiny house exhibit, where students are working across academic subjects and with the community. They had a Super Bowl pep rally, Principal Silly String, No Name Calling Week, Random Acts of Kindness Challenge. They did celebrate Read Across America. They are participating in the mentor program as well. There are outside lunches. They are doing a volleyball tournament where they have the winners versus the teachers. The 6th grade spring dance, and their class trips, which were Battleship and their DC trip. And then the next steps for our committee, the SEL committee, we are continuing to plan the district-wide events to support both staff and students. We will continue to keep communication open between the SEL committee and the district SEL and the school level teams. We will continue to provide professional development to staff with a focus on positive behavior that supports the de-escalation techniques. We will continue to update our webpage and display school events as they take place. This will now also include a link for the parents for Character Strong. Analyze the Character Strong feedback in grades K to 6 to adjust this resource so we can meet all the grade level needs. We plan to have a full year mentor program implemented next year, and we are currently planning end of the year activities for the staff as well.
I just wanted to know if we get the results of the survey ones there. I mean, that's just going to the results of the survey.
No names.
No names.
It's just by grade level. By grade level broken down.
I mean, when you guys are, I mean, you can choose something we did send to us or put what we clean out.
Any other board member questions? Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
So next item we got this evening our mid-year student achievement report. Mr. Noel.
All right, so before we get started, I just want to apologize to you that you just got this presentation today and not prior to the work session. I was on vacation the week before, and when I was pulling the data to link it, custom reports went down. So all of the charts that I was trying to pull, they didn't have, by the time they fixed it, I was away, so I finished it and got it to you guys when I came back today. So I do apologize that you didn't have time to look at it ahead of time. I have some really good data though that I'm happy to share with you. So we're going to review the New Jersey performance reports that came out, our 24-25 winter iReady reading and math data, as well as our winter DIBELS data, well actually our fall and winter DIBELS data, as well as our winter math intermediate and math MRI data. So for the New Jersey performance reports, like I'm really super excited to share with you for the first time ever, we met all of our targets in proficiency and growth. That's never happened. Usually we meet it in one and not the other. And this is the first year that we have met it. And you can see here for ELA proficiency, we met the target across the board in every sub area as well, every racial group. In math proficiency, the only area where we did not meet the target was our Black or African American students. For ELA growth, we exceeded the standard in 4 out of the 7 subgroups there. We've never exceeded the standard, so this is really exciting. Our math growth, we've met the standard in all of our subgroups as well. So that is a huge applause for all of our teachers, instructional coaches, curriculum team, principals, everybody have just been working so hard to get that done. And they're doing a great job. This is a look at the last couple of years. So the green circles was this year. So you can see the performance measure for our median student growth percentile. So some of you would know them as your MSGP. For ELA, we exceeded the standard. And for math, we met the standard, which we met the standard last year as well, but we did grow in both areas. So, and we're higher than the state in both areas as well. Looking at this column here, this is 23-24 for ELA, and this is math, and you can see the last 2 years, not met, not met, not met, not met. This year, we met. So all of the things that we're putting into place, all of the things that we are doing, is working, and we're finally starting to see those results transfer over into our state test scores.
Can you explain why the annual target went down for ELA and math? So we were on target of 53.7% in 22-23, and last year it was 38%.
This came right from the state, so I'll have to look at that.
So we really do drop the target.
Standard.
Drop the bar.
Yeah.
State drop the bar.
Yeah.
Lower the bar. Lower the bar. I'm just asking.
That's fine.
You look at their data, they lowered it by almost 20 percentage points for ELA, and they lowered it for 16 percentage points from that.
They keep, every year I feel like they change something. And I know, like, I've shown you the positive trends that we've had as a district in our grade levels from historical to here as well. So, and next year we're getting a new state assessment. So just found that out, by the way. For math and language arts, there'll be a brand new state assessment. So everything will be changed. It's like every time you can start looking for trends, it's like you can't, then it changes all the time. The only area where we didn't meet was our chronic absenteeism. So we only actually met in 2 areas, which was our Black and African American students and the multilingual learners. Every other subgroup did not meet for chronic absenteeism. However, when you look at our 3 years, our chronic absenteeism has decreased significantly in some areas. Main Road is the only one that actually had an increase. They were the lowest for the last 2 years, and then they were the highest, or one of the highest this last year. But for the district, we went from 18.9 to 16.9 to 15.4. But if you look at Jambier the last 2 years, those percentages were really high, so it makes sense that Main Road got higher, but it's still at 14.5%, which is a decrease. So we are decreasing with our percentage of students that are chronically absent. 18? 18. So taking a look at our DIBELS data, this is the DIBELS data for the beginning of the year. We had done it in November, so I didn't have the data done when I presented to you guys. So taking a look at the blue is Core Plus, which means students are above level. The green are the students that are on level. So it's really great to show you that from majority of our students are in that green and blue. When you put them together, so we're in between 51% and 76% of the students being on or above level in DIBELS. Historically, we've always been in that yellow, that at-risk area, majority of our students. So that was the beginning of the year data. And in the middle of the year data, you can see that we still are, the targets get higher for what the students have to do. The bar is set higher. In first grade, there was a decrease of 14% of the students being on or above level, but there's also a lot more that they're expected to do by the middle of the year. Again, majority of our students are in that green and blue category together, making up between 53 to 63% of the student population being on or above level in DIBELS. For iReady reading, this is showing you from fall to winter. So from fall to winter, the students that were mid or above level, which is that dark green color, increased by 18%. The early on grade level increased by 9%. The one grade level below, which is the yellow, where we are always historically, always in that one level below, decreased by 16%. And then our 2 or more grade levels below decreased by 13%. I just highlighted, this is from fall to winter data. I just kind of highlighted kindergarten, 3rd grade, and 6th grade, because just looking at their green, looking at that dark green and that lighter green color, every grade level made growth across the board, but I just feel like those 3 grade levels made the most growth that you can see there. Looking at kindergarten, only 20% of the students scored 1 grade level below. Now, when we're looking at the green, majority of our students are falling in that early on or mid to late grade level. For iReady Math, you'll see the same thing. Our dark green went from 7% to 26%, which was an increase of 21%. Early on level increased by 12%, 1 grade level below decreased by 19%, and 2 or more grade levels below decreased by 12%. So historically in math too, we were always falling in that yellow category. Now, a majority of our students are starting to fall into the green when you combine them together. I highlighted kindergarten and 6th grade again for the math data, just to take a look at how much growth they have made from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. So we are now looking at about 50% of our students being early on or mid or above grade level in math as well, according to iReady. Taking a look at the red, if you're looking at the 2 grade levels below or 3 or more grade levels below, take a look at 2nd grade. They decreased by 21%. 3rd grade also decreased by 21%. And 5th grade decreased by 16%. For our math interview and MRI data, we put a new kindergarten screener in place this year because if you look at 1st grade, this shows we need a new screener. 98% of our kids are on grade level according to our screener, and there was only 1 student in all of 1st grade that was an emergency on this screener. So where we used to have gaps and deficiencies, we have now strengthened those areas of weakness that fit those foundational skills, and we'll be putting a new screener into 1st grade next year as well. So the numbers next year will be, most likely will mimic what kindergarten looks like. We caught more kindergarten students this year in math than we ever had, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that screener strengthens this group of students over time. But taking a look at the kindergarten, 48% of the students were on level in the beginning of the year, with 42% of them being emergency. Now we're at 64% of them being on level, with 29% still being emergency. In second grade, they're taking the multi-digit math interview. They increased from 57% of the students being on level to 90% of the students being on level, showing us, okay, we probably need a new screener in second grade as well, which our math committee is currently working on, the new screeners for those grade levels. In second grade, only 2 students were emergency out of the whole student population. Spatial reasoning was our weakest area, and benchmarks of 5 and 10 was our strongest area. In grades 3 through 5, you'll notice in third grade, this is the first grade they take the math reasoning inventory. 62% of the students were on level at the beginning of the year. We're now at 67% of the kids being on grade level. And the at-risk and the emergency kind of are staying the same. Multiplication and division being the weakest area, which makes sense because that's what they're just now learning and really getting into with the multiplication and division. In fourth grade, there was, I say, a significant decrease of students being on level, so I went right to the math coaches and asked, like, what's going on with fourth grade? How they're the only grade level that showed a decrease with the MRI. It was explained to me that at the beginning of the year in fourth grade, the students, everything that they're expected to do with numbers is within 100. By the middle of the year, they're expected to do multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction within 1,000, and they're all mentally, and they're also supposed to be able to interpret remainders in the division problem. So it gets significantly harder for them at the middle of the year. So I'm really curious to see how the end of the year will break out for fourth grade. For fifth grade, they just took their MRI for the first time, 68% of the students being on level. Sixth grade took their MRI at the beginning of the year, and they take it again at the end of the year. So you'll have more data for them at the end of the year. And then for the student tiers, I just wanted to put in here what our numbers are for each grade level. So I put in the grade level, the current population, the tier 1.5, which I know is a Jamie tier. That's how we talk about it around here, but those are the students that are on grade level but still require some remediation support with grade level material. Tier 2 and Tier 3 students are still in that intervention range, so at the DLC this week, they will be taking a look at these along with the percentage of students that need and require supports, and looking at projected population for next year and how many intervention rooms will we need per grade level for ELA and math. That's all I have for you.
Board member questions from the adult?
You mentioned the math, how do you work with?
Well, we have part-time coaches. So they're in the classroom part of the day and coaching part of the day. But as for the rest of the school year, they're back in the classroom, and I do not have coaches. But they've been integral the last couple of years, getting us where we are. Anything else?
When you say new screener,
Yes.
you think there's stuff simplified?
Yes, we're missing something. So when we first put these screeners in place, we found what we were missing, and we were able to strengthen those areas. But now we're like, okay, in second grade, we're
It can't be all over the screen.
correct. What is it that we're missing now? Good.
Any other board member questions? Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Did you send it over?
Yes. Jamie, you just brought up.
This evening is our budget hearing.
Pass you the baton. Thank you.
All right, we'll get right into it. Good evening, everybody. Jamie, thank you for the presentation. It was nice and short. I appreciate that. No, but really a lot of good news in there. The tier system is working. Math is that area that's the challenge, but you know.
But we're making progress.
Yes. Yes. So thank you for that. Also, before I start, I wanted to thank our BA. It's a pleasure working with Trish. Putting the budget together is a Herculean task. It's not easy. She's and her staff do an amazing job. So thank you for all this. The annual budget hearing is where I get to talk about the good stuff, and the BA gets to talk about the numbers. So I will try to keep it as light as I can, and Trish will hit you with the numbers. There's some really good news in here. There's also some discouraging news, and we'll get into that in a second. If you read the papers or read online what's happening in many other districts around the state of New Jersey, some districts are looking at getting rid of sports, clubs, all athletics because of the lack of funding from the state. Other districts are looking at a 35 to 40% tax increase in 1 year. This is all a result of that 2% cap that was put on, I think, in 2010 in New Jersey schools. It's caught up to many, many districts, and they're facing the cliff. Some districts are now going over that cliff. We've warned, we meaning superintendents by association, for years, the Department of Education, that this is going to happen, and we're actually finally seeing it, unfortunately. Where I live in Marlton, Evesham, 65 staff members laid off. It's awful what's happening in these larger districts. If things don't change, it's going to start affecting districts like Franklin Township. So there's some good news, but there's also some trepidation moving forward. All right. So I thank Trish for redoing my slide. This is the slide I've used probably for 15 years as superintendent. She didn't think it looked pretty enough, so she formatted it and put the district logo on it. But I love saying this. Will Rogers, even if you're on the right track, you're going to get run over if you stand still. And budgets should be moving districts forward. This budget doesn't. Now, not in a quick way. We're certainly on the right tracks thanks to Jamie and her work and the staff here. But if we stand still, you're going to get run over. This budget does push us forward a little bit, so that doesn't happen. So the budget process, I'm not going to bore you with going through all that, but it takes a long time, starting back in November of last year, starting to put together the numbers and getting requisitions from principals and the staff on what they want to see in their buildings to help move the district forward. A few weeks ago, you approved the submission of the budget to the county. It was approved by the county. No corrections were made, correct? So the budget that we're going to put in front of you tonight to approve is the same budget that you approved a month ago. That brings us to the highlighted area, the public hearing of the budget. So when we talk about budget, there are a number of things that we consider. We're really talking about everything, from buildings and grounds to salaries to insurance. The tax impact is huge. Board members have a very difficult job. You want to do what's best for the district, but you have a fiduciary responsibility to the public to keep taxes as close to flat as possible. Because of that 2% cap and CPI going up over 3%, it's nearly impossible to do that. So when we put the budgets together, we look at everything here in the district. When I saw this, this is really, really impressive. And you may take this for granted as a district, but these are all the things that you have done over the past few years to lower costs of the district. Solar power, shared resources with Delsey, sharing with the township, the 3 SROs, shared services with buildings and grounds supervisor for the first time, saves money. That adds up. So this list was really, really impressive, and it's something that Trish, I know, is proud of, and you as a Board of Education should be very proud of. That's a very long list, and a lot of money is saved because you're doing things the right way and the most efficient cost savings way. Again, a lot of things here, programs that we are maintaining, technology maintaining, and staffing is always the challenge. Something like 80–85% of a budget is salary and benefits. It's a huge proportion compared to the rest of the budget. But these are a list of everything that we have to offer. The one change we're making, I'll get into it a little bit, is that we are upgrading our ESL curriculum. Jamie's been working with the staff for the past number of months to do just that. So that's the one thing that we're adding to the district, moving it forward. And one thing that I've been impressed with being here for 6-7 months now is the technology. My last district, where I retired from, is a fairly affluent district. We had 6 Promethean boards in the district. You have one in every classroom literally across the district. Kids are walking around with Chromebooks. Staff members have Chromebooks. Don't take that lightly. There's a huge cost with that, but if you're going to really affect change and affect instruction in a positive way, technology plays a key role. Teachers use this in every single class. It's amazing. Touching the boards, the kids are on their Chromebooks. I've not seen anyone complain that the internet is down, which is a typical problem in many districts with schools built of stone and rock and metal. But it doesn't seem to happen here. Your infrastructure of technology is really, really positive and something that you shouldn't take for granted. We'll talk about staffing and that increase in a second. Facilities, not changing. Again, costs continue to rise. We'll get into fixed costs in a second, but curriculum instruction, facilities, CST, special services, all those things are here. No staff cuts, no cuts in program, which is a very, very positive thing compared to many districts around the state. Transportation costs are continuing to go up. We'll talk health benefits in a second. And then you still have your strategic plan, things that you're doing like we heard tonight that cost a little bit of money, but they're really, really important to make a district personal and make it really productive. So the good news is a lot of things are staying in place, but again, nothing's really moving forward except for that ELA curriculum. Here's some of the numbers that Trish is going to talk about real quick. I know it's hard to see from back there, but this is a comparison of the past 3 years, well, 2 years, and this year's proposed budget. Tough numbers.
Right, so you see the categories listed there, classroom instruction. The net increase is attributed to salary line accounts due to negotiated contractual raises over TFPA, TFSA, non-unit, and support staff, as well as administrative. Support services, you'll see the, what we call material increase. That's again contractual salary increases, one-to-one nursing costs, and increased student achievement software applications. The administrative costs went up about $109,000. That's attributed to strategic and long-range facility planning costs, along with other, again, negotiated contractual costs and professional costs. Operation and maintenance of plant went up about $151,000. Again, contractual salary increases and overall utility and insurance cost increases. You'll see the decrease in student transportation, and that's based on the student population for special needs and their transportation requirements. Employee benefits, that includes, of course, health benefits and the contractual benefit obligations that we have to meet along with the overall rising cost of healthcare. Capital outlay is used to record equipment purchases and capital improvements. That's a net decrease of about $285,000, and that's just the difference in projects that are scheduled to be done and proposed in the current budget. Yeah.
Could you explain again the student transportation on this?
Right, so the student population for out-of-district placements, while that did increase, the students going to certain places would be able to be, I guess, bundled more or less. So those costs were able to be decreased.
We had a recent situation where one of our buses was put out of commission. Do I understand that correctly?
Correct.
Does that have a bearing on that number at all?
That does not, because that number was set way before that.
That's what I thought, so no, we're,
Correct.
well, we can talk later about where we're going with that.
Right. Probably leasing. Obviously, we have the insurance coverage for it, but that won't cover a tire. So, yeah, we have to look
So
at
that's
that.
pretty much just a consolidation of those funds.
Correct. Correct. Next slide, please. This is basically the graphical chart on the previous slide to show how much percentage each of those categories makes up of the entire general fund budget. When I say general fund, that's the local tax levy and then the amounts that are spent Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and IDEA for those costs. Okay, next slide. Another chart based on the expenditures by services and items. So obviously you have salaries and benefits making up 76%, other purchase services, which are travel expenses, mileage reimbursement, food service management, software, telecommunications, insurance, those types of things are listed in that category. Outside placements, that is the tuition accounts. Support supplies includes nursing supplies, curriculum materials, speech, audio, OT, PT materials and devices, custodial supplies, HVAC supplies, and vehicle maintenance supplies as well. Instructional supplies are obviously textbooks, curriculum supplies, materials, Chromebooks, smartboards, curriculum subscriptions and licenses, and student consumables of the like. Utilities are pretty easy, electricity and natural gas, and again, the capital outlay, which looks like it's zero in this one because it is not money that's coming from the actual general fund or tax levy, it is capital reserve money. Next slide, please. So those previous lines were the expenses, these are the revenues and how we're going to pay for that. Fund balance is the use of basically the money that was either left over from years prior to then balance the budget years after. State aid, you can see we did see an increase of $507,000. However, in previous years since 21-22, we have lost $1.1 million. So really we're to the good at this point from just those small years. We're still negative and in the hole about $500,000. Extraordinary aid is something we typically don't budget for. However, given the budget constraints, we've had to throw that in there. And that's based on the grant money and or refunds of those expenses that are incurred for those special needs students above $40,000 and above $55,000 in costs per year for their tuition, one-to-one aid, ESY, those types of costs. Tuition is the money that we receive from Newfield for our send-receive relationship. Minimal increase, and that's based on the change in tuition rate versus the enrollment that we have. That is all agreed upon with the Newfield Board of Ed. Transportation, no increase, no decrease based on the population. You'll see a difference in the miscellaneous income. That includes SEMI, which is the Special Education Medicaid Initiative. Typically, that only costs gives us about $30,000. However, there was a huge reduction in that this year, and now we are only counting $5,000 in that amount. Also, the miscellaneous income from 24-25 includes some funds that were transferred from 23-24 as an adjustment for prior year encumbrances. So those are basically things that we incurred in 23-24 and paid for them in 24-25. And then the tax levy, you'll see an increase there of about $457,000. That equates to about a 3.61% increase. We were able to go above the 2% based on an adjustment for healthcare as calculated by the state. You'll see then the withdrawal of maintenance reserve and withdrawal of capital reserve. Typically, the maintenance reserve is withdrawn to offset some of the funds in the general fund or just operating expenses. It should be noted that that is the remainder of the reserve fund. So after the 25-26 year, should there be no funds replenished into it, that is zero. You can see there the basic operating costs have increased about $1 million. Next slide, please. So here we have the tax impact of all of those numbers. You'll see that the average home increased about $571 compared to the 2024 value. Ratables also went up about $5.4 million. Taxpayers through the district have received about $2.1 million of savings since 2013 by funding the debt service, which roughly equates to about a 2% increase from the capital reserve funds. And the proposed 2025-26 budget equates to about a 3.47 cent increase per $1,000 assessed home value in the tax rate. So your average home, $190,078, should see an estimated increase of about $66 per year, estimated at 5.51 cents per month.
So this is the slide I was talking about before. This slide should come with red warning lights and the alarm going off. So we talk about fixed costs. These are costs that we can't change. Salaries, benefits, insurance, out-of-district tuition, about $1.3 million. Those are fixed costs we can't change. The only way we change salaries is to get rid of staff members, which none of us want to do. But those are fixed costs to keep in mind, $1.3 million. Now revenues, Trish just talked about the revenues and where the money's coming from. We did have some increase in state aid, but capital reserves account, it's a zero balance. Special revenue funds, COVID grants expire. Tax levy cap is 2%, unless this board wanted to go above it like other districts, and that's not being met well with the public, right? No one wants to pay more in taxes, or the use of fund balance. Those are revenues. We can't go out and have a bake sale. We can't go and get a second job, right? Those are the revenues. So if you take the costs, those fixed costs, and the revenues, minus them out, the district's in a hole about $300,000 after everything is said and done. Now, on a $30 million budget, give or take a few million, it's, you know, it's doable. You can close that gap, and Trish has done that from taking from Peter and paying Paul kind of thing. The problem is that number is going to keep getting higher and higher and higher as fixed costs continue to go up. Things in there that are not there, things like transportation costs, right? You can get rid of courtesy busing. You don't have any courtesy busing. Districts are doing that. You don't have that. I wouldn't want any kid, any child walking any of these roads here in Franklin Township. You can't do that. Those costs are going up and up and up. That's not good. Utilities are going to go up and up and up. Something that's not on this slide, and I don't want to get political, but Title I funds, which we receive, IDEA funds, which we receive from Washington, who knows where they're going to be? We're being told 75% less, or 25% less than last year. The budget at 75% of those, and that's how much money?
Roughly $800,000.
Yeah. So that's 8 staff members. Yeah, that's a lot of money here in Franklin Township. That's something to keep an eye on as you move forward, because that red number is going to get higher and higher, and eventually, if the funding formula doesn't change in the state of New Jersey, we're going to be like Evesham, we're going to be like Tom's River. Everyone's going to be like Lacey Township, like Lakewood. All those districts that are looking at double digits increases in their taxes is going to be everywhere. Now, with the uncertainty from Washington, that just adds to it. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see where this goes over the next couple of years. Now we're in good shape, moving forward year after year. You know, I'm not sure. Bottom line, this budget maintains all the programs, cutting edge literacy program, which we're adding K through 6, adds some instructional resources, improves our facilities a little bit, still provides a safe and caring environment for all of our students and staff, which is paramount, and that's why we are all here. And it builds on the tradition of being a high-achieving school district with students that feel like they belong in our buildings. I think that is the main attribute, the main hallmark of this district. Seeing these children come in the doors every day. And that's a reflection on leadership, Board of Education, and our amazing staff members, because kids feel welcome in these 3 buildings. And that's amazing. That's really, really fantastic. And that's why we're here. So thank you to the Board of Education for your support, staff for always doing more with less, administration for working diligently on helping put this budget together, our amazing parents and community members, and of course those students who I just spoke about. They are really the best. They brighten my life when I walk in and see these smiling faces. I know they do with the staff and our administration as well. Thank you. Are there any questions? off the presentation, any questions, we're not just live or anything?
Any board members? Next item on our agenda is our public comment section for our budget. We'll say agenda items without making that mention of the public comment section. All in favor? Anyone from the public wish to address the board on the budget or any other agenda item? Seeing no one, I make a motion to close the public comment section. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? School board president report, let me check my email to see if there's going to be, one of the things to update you guys on that information that we discussed in executive session, from Mr. Paul's on board with you all. That's not gotten that yet. Mr. Beck, report.
Just quickly, mark your calendars for the next board meeting. I think at the work session we decided administration, we're going to do a presentation on our application for preschool expansion aid. That will be the work session in May. We're working on the presentation, fine-tuning some details. We'll present it to the Board of Education, hopefully looking at an August submission to the state for the aid for next year.
Mrs. Brown, anything you want to add? Thank you. Any board member liaison reports? Not on the minutes, any minutes, listed from March 12th work session as well as March 17th regular board meeting. I'll make the motion to approve the minutes listed, second. Any revisions or comments or questions? Not all in favor?
All in favor?
No. Any abstentions? No. First time here? Human resources, I believe it's been
Just the one we talked about in executive session, in addition to termination.
Any board member questions on human resource items? If not, I'll make a motion to approve human resource items, G1 through G11 to the superintendent. Have a second. Treasurer call roll, please.
I'm sorry, your second. Chigley? Cunningham?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yes.
Fregoso?
Education items, again, no revisions or review. So there's no board member questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a question. Were you able to clarify the professional development out of the district?
Yeah, it's, we had openings, some people couldn't attend, we just switched applicants again. We already previously approved that
Please.
place.
Thank you.
Any other board member questions? Not make a motion to approve education items H1 through H5 as recommended by the superintendent. Have a second.
Second.
Treasurer call roll, please.
Doyle?
Yes.
Fregoso?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Chigley? Yes. Cunningham?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
General administration. Again, no other changes. Any more member questions? Hearing none, make a motion to approve general administration items I1 through I6 as recommended by the superintendent. Have a second. Any other comments? Treasurer call roll.
Fregoso?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Smith? Chigley? Yes. Cunningham?
Yes.
Doyle? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Operations.
Yes, no changes
to the budget, the rest of the budget resolution. Is there anybody that wishes that to either separately, regularly, for clarity? No? Okay. Want to do that option? With that, there's no other comments. I will make a motion to approve operations committee items I-1 through I-19 as recommended by the superintendent. Second. Second by Mr. Goodman. Tricia, call the roll.
Cunningham?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yeah.
Regresso?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes, all of those number two,
Absolutely. Smith? Freezing over all 18, all 19 items, or? Shailene?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes, for all items, with the exclusion of 18, COVID.
Motion carries.
We have old business, more goals, or council, or here's the thing, council.
Just have some old business. We talked about, some issues with the classrooms. Have you noticed, or had any update on improvements with them? I guess maybe not because of the break.
They were super, all last week has been 20.
I just figured that out, yeah. Okay, maybe at the next, at our next meeting, you can give us an update if that's improved.
Any new business?
I just, as soon as I figure that out,
Michelle, any new business before? No? With that, I'll look at our second public comment. I make a motion to move into the public, second. All in favor? Anyone from the public, wish to address the board? No? Anybody? All right, I make a motion, we'll close this public comment. I have a second. We have our upcoming meeting dates of May 14th, 6 p.m. for the work session, and May 19th. Before we adjourn, I forgot to mention it during my president report, but Trish, do you have the dates yet of when the online forms will be for staff and parents for superintendent search? We provide that.
Summarize.
Okay.
I didn't get that part today. So that'll be made a statement on the website, through the mass communication system, email, text, bill, and so forth.
Okay, so more so for the benefit of the staff in the audience this evening, there will be a couple online forums that are available for staff as well as the community to participate in the superintendent search. Just because you may or may not be able to make one of the staff ones doesn't exclude you. You're more welcome to attend one of the parent meetings. I know there was some conversations we had previously about scheduling the different members of the staff, what time the forms would be and what time school was out and so on and so forth. So, and there'll also be some surveys that will be going out to the staff. So that way, if you guys could relay your associations, we really like maximum participation if possible, and get your feedback on those self-searches. Any other board members have comments on that?
I just wanted to, going back to, and I don't know if this was just put in there, I just saw it, but the settlement agreement, can you elaborate on that?
I mean, basically, there was a disagreement on placement. We did go to mediation, and so the reason why there's a settlement is because we went to mediation, we didn't settle in the first mediation. So if you don't settle in the first mediation and you settle in the second mediation, you have to have a settlement agreement. So there was no money involved. The IEP was basically left as we wrote it. The big change is that, and I'm sure, I don't know if you shared with us, we're going to be having an MD program at Ritter. Our MD program has primarily been at Main Road, but and that has house of 3 through 6 grades. Our numbers have increased, so now we're going to actually have an MD program at Ritter. So we'll have the kids that are 3, 4 stay at Main Road, and we'll have another MD class, which kind of resolved the issue of the due process. So, but there is no monetary anything with it.
I know this is sad. But I added a position.
Because of this.
We're not because of this. I mean, we were talking about having another class anyway, because our numbers are so high that it would, like, we'd have to have 12 kids in an MD class, which makes no sense. And now is the perfect time for us to start one at Ritter because of our numbers. It just never made sense to have one class for like 5 kids, but now the MD population is growing. So they kind of coincided. The parent did want an out-of-district placement, but we did not feel that was appropriate, and so I think it was a win-win for everybody.
Thank you.
Nothing else, I'll make a motion, either two,
Okay.
all in favor?